Fellas, if you think that's going to get it done here in the second half, you're nuts. It ain't going to work. We need more than that. We need more effort, more execution, more passion. I need you to want it. I need you to play like animals. Bring it in. Win on three. 1, 2, 3.
Tim, this may have been your finest work. Forget about 10 years as head coach at Wagner College. And it's what a treat to see mascots from throughout the NBA. They're here to help celebrate the birthday of Nets mascot Sly. Hi, everybody. Marv Alderlo and Tim Capstraw making the move over from the radio side. And you look back at last night and a thoroughly disappointing performance by the Nets, coming off 4 wins in their previous 5 games. And there are several areas, as we take a look at tonight's game, that the Nets have to address, starting with the lack of defensive intensity.
Well, anybody that knows Lawrence Frank knows that his defensive philosophy is the #1 key to the Nets' success. And inability to contain penetration of the basketball was just not there last night. The Nets were not taking control of the defense. The Pacers were getting where they wanted, dribbling the basketball, making plays. You see Danny Granger right here, then a defensive rotation. But it all begins with the ability to stop the basketball. The inability to fight through screens. You've got to work your way through screens. You can't stick like Velcro. You got to get around. You got to get under, through, and challenge shots, especially with this Pacer team, Marv, that shoots the ball so very well. You better go on top of high screens because they will light it up if you lay back on them off the high screen. And then again, the Nets, their philosophy is to protect the paint, protect the rim. And the Pacers moved the ball exceptionally well. Their ball and body movement was constant. And the Nets didn't rotate over. They didn't protect. They didn't reject shots. And they didn't own the paint. And really, the Nets have to tie up all these certain areas right now, Marv, for their defensive focus to be there to have success in this game.
Thank you, Coach Capstraw. I was taking notes.
Thank you.
And Foster to get it going in the second of the home-and-home, and Indiana in control. And last night, the Pacers, who came from behind, as we mentioned, with only 1 field goal over the final 6.5 minutes, but able to hold on for the victory. And Diener gets up the first shot.
Yeah, going right again at Marcus Williams. You know that's going to be the challenge for Marcus Williams, to be able to slow down Diener tonight.
And that's here at home of 13 and 15. As Carter fires and hits. It's Carter opened up last night, Tim, trying to set people up. They had the offense running through Vince, and it worked for a while in the first quarter, but then the Pacers successfully double-teaming and got the ball out of his hands as Foster ties the game.
Well, the Pacers got the green light, but getting back to Vince Carter, I think that's going to be an adjustment we're going to have to watch. I have a feeling that Lawrence Frank isn't going to run so many high screen and rolls, so that allows the Pacers to trap him.
Vince following up that season high of 33 against the Bulls with just 11 shots, 5 of 11, 15 points, did have 8 assists. But the question is, and I know you talked about it on the pregame show, here's Granger, who was off last night. Question is, how will Marcus Williams respond to a poor performance last night?
Well, he was obviously really good against Chicago.
And Williams missed the shot. Here comes Dunleavy. Diener gets it out to Murphy for 3. Indiana Pacers are second in the NBA in 3-point attempts, so they love to fire away.
And that was a dangerous play. You got to be careful in your transition defense not to go to the rim. You got to go to the 3-point line for Troy Murphy.
Carter being guarded by Dunleavy. Jefferson played by Granger. Here's the double on Carter. Boone very quiet last night, had it knocked away. Last touch by Foster. Very tough matchups for Josh Boone and Sean Williams last night.
And exactly, and even Sagana Diop, how can you get him on the floor?
Here Jefferson tried the fadeaway with the shot clock running down. 2 minutes gone by, and the game is tied at 2. Off the weave, Diener try to use the pick. Good job by Williams that time, not allowing the shot. Granger for 3. And Kristich gets to it.
Got to be careful, though, going underneath those screens. You can get hurt by this Pacer team. They all got the green light.
Nets averaging just 94 points a game coming in 28th in the NBA shooting percentage, also way off, only 44%, which is next to last.
Andy Krisic has got to get more aggressive plays going. He's relying on his jump shot too much.
Here's Granger trying to make the turn. Dunleavy for three, looking to draw the foul. And here is Carter ahead of the field.
That's what happens when you go out and challenge shots. You've then got the advantage to get out ahead of the field, and good job by Marcus Williams finding Vince Carter.
Murphy played by Carter. Dunleavy, that's a two-pointer. Mike Dunleavy, as you mentioned, had been having his difficulties in terms of the offensive end. 8 for his previous 40 from downtown. Coming into last night's play, have not shot well. Jefferson with a nice move.
He does an excellent job of getting to the other side of the rim to avoid all those shot blockers. Excellent at that, especially lately.
Exchange between Foster and Dunleavy. Foster takes the shot. Jeff Foster had an excellent game last night. 10 points, 14 rebounds, 4 assists. A master of that backdoor pass from the high post.
He can really pass the ball. And what he's really known for is the ability to offensive rebound. Relentless on the glass.
Game is tied at 6. Williams picked up on a switch. Boone is right there.
Excellent job. A little subtle rotation, and that's what Josh Boone does well for the Nets. Goes to the offensive backcourt.
Diener, that's a tough shot because Williams did stay with him, battling through the screen. And Diener able to tie the game at 8.
You see a more increased focus on the defensive end so far by the Nets, although the results aren't necessarily there.
Jefferson trying to post up on Granger. Nice pass. Williams is fouled. Pretty pass from Jefferson, and that'll send Marcus Williams to the line. The foul committed by Jeff Foster.
Take a peek at this from the high angle right there. Great read by Marcus Williams. That's what made the play. Travis Diener turned his head, and Marcus Williams just bolted right to the basket.
Well, Marcus Williams, Wednesday night of the overtime victory over the Bulls. 9 of 18, 25 points, but a different story. Last night, 2 out of 4, 5 points, and on several occasions got lost at the defensive end. Here's the lead pass to Granger, broken up by Jefferson. Good hustle as Jefferson knocked it aside.
A more focused Nets team to start this game, no doubt about it. And that time off a free throw, been able to set their 2-2-1 defense and being more aggressive and getting after. A little pride, a challenging of pride by Lawrence Frank. You can sense that with his team getting after defensively.
And we talk about the home-and-home series, so unusual to go home-and-home back-to-back, but they're on equal terms. The Nets arriving in the metropolitan area around 2:30 in the morning, and Murphy is fouled. Late whistle, but no question he was hacked. And the Indiana Pacers also getting in late around the same time. Kristaps called for the foul, and it's in the act, so Troy Murphy will shoot 2.
Well, you know, you don't see these back-to-back on consecutive nights. You hardly ever see them, but it really gives you that playoff type of atmosphere. And really, when you talk about the playoffs, Marvin, you certainly know better than anyone that the biggest adjustments teams make are from game 1 to game 2 in a 7-game series. So this is a major adjustment game right now that you can see going on by the Nets. And the major adjustment I see so far is that the Nets have gotten away from little high screen and rolls for Vince Carter. They're trying to get him the basketball in different areas of the floor so he can be a more scoring factor.
How do you react to back-to-back? Most unusual to go radio than TV. Is that, you okay?
Yeah, the adjustment, you know, I'm working it on the fly here, out of the bullpen.
Game is tied at 10. Here's Boone, and he draws the foul. For a moment, Lawrence Frank getting set to argue because he thought it might be an offensive foul, but it is a block picked up by Foster.
Well, this is that old combination we saw a lot last year. Boone and Williams, the UConn connection, playing screen and roll basketball, and a very good read and decision by Marcus Williams.
Jeff Foster picks up his second.
Officials correction is now an offensive foul.
Oh, they change it to an offensive foul.
They're going to say that the play was developed in the lower defensive box. We'll explain that as it goes on, but that's why the foul, I don't agree with it any way they want to interpret it on that play, because Boone looked like there was a lot of contact on Boone.
Well, the net coaching staff was ready to argue on it. Murphy draws the foul because they anticipated that it would be an offensive foul. It was called the other way, and here is another look.
Right here, the play starts right in this area right here, but let's see where Josh Boone receives the basketball. He receives the basketball below this little dot right here. Therefore, you are allowed to be underneath the restricted area to get a charge. That's why that foul was called on Josh Boone. Now, if you agree with it or not, that's a whole nother case, but the play did develop below the lower defensive box.
And Boone collects his second, so he sits down.
Take another look. That little dot right there, you see. And Boone gets in there, and then the feet were on the line, but it didn't matter. And that's why the officials worked together to say that he had received the ball in that lower area.
Sean Williams coming on for Josh Boone. Indiana up by 2. Kristich getting down.